So you believe that waiting, meaning not having sex, we're really clear, it means not having sex
Until marriage.
until you get married, helps God to reveal things that you would have missed.
Oh, yeah.
How so?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting because when we got together, we both knew that we were going to wait. And what we learned in the process was because we weren't being intimate in that way, we were able to really see each other for who we are. We were able to really spend our time getting connected emotionally, spiritually, being able to assess, can I spend a lifetime with you? If the sex goes up and down at certain times in our marriage, do I love you enough? Do I respect you enough? Do we want the same things out of life? Can we really be joined that way? And so what I realized in the past was most of the relationships that I went into, because it started off sexually, I didn't have the clarity or the discernment to see who the person was.
Because the sex clouds everything.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because the sex is good, so you're like, oh, okay, well, you know, that's my boo, I need to be near him, and you become physically dependent upon that person. You make excuses.
Yeah.
You're okay with stuff you wouldn't be okay with
Right.
long term. You know, it's the stuff that I feel like a lot of times relationships last, 2 to 4 years. It's because it's taken us that amount of time to figure out that we may not even like this person at all as a human being,
Yeah.
or we may, but they just may not be right for us, and we
Or they're showing you
compromise.
over and over and over, but
Yeah.
then the sex gets
You
in the
can't see
way
it.
and
So
you can't see it.
What's going on, Rebel Family? Today's video, she's for the streets. Meagan Good and Devon Franklin. Devon Franklin has filed for divorce, but before we get to the video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the channel. So, we saw this kind of coming for a while here. Some of the blog sites have had posted that they were on separate vacations, or excuse me, separate they went to separate Halloween parties, and she was no longer um, dressing as modestly as she used to. So we kind of saw this coming. We were just waiting on it to really just be confirmed, and it was confirmed. I think it was the Blaze newspaper or the Blaze website posted up that Devin Franklin actually is the one who filed for divorce. So that lets us know a few things. But let's just take a quick look at some of the things that they talked about in the past.
You, I think, were like the first ones to really out of Hollywood start talking about it. Well, you were.
Yeah.
What made you decide to go there? Because you didn't have to tell people what was happening in your bedroom, but you did. Or not happening. Sorry. Eventually happening, but not right away.
Oh, Lord. Right. We had to wait. I think we just wanted to share because relationships are so hard. And truth be told, there's not a lot of guidance out there. And so we wanted to share our truth, and that waiting to have sex was a critical part of the healthy foundation of our marriage and relationship. And we both were doing it independently. I had been doing it for years before Meagan and I got together because, being out in the world, speaking and preaching, telling one thing, there was a time when I was doing something different. And I wanted to reconcile who I was in public and in person, and in private, excuse me. So that's why I decided to wait. And I said, you know what, I'm going to wait until marriage after I wasn't waiting. And then Meagan and I got together and found out she had been waiting.
Yeah.
And Meagan, as I understand it, you've said in the past you knew this was your husband before he knew.
Yeah.
How's that possible?
Well, it's really interesting because we had met 4 years prior to working on Jumping the Broom. And he was the executive on Jumping the Broom, I was the actress on the film, and I was on the tail end of kind of a not so great relationship. Not because the person, we just weren't right for each other, but I really got a chance to get to know him on set, and I thought, man, that's the kind of guy I wish I could marry. And that was it. He's the guy who gives you the job. That's all I thought about it. And then I got back from Nova Scotia filming, and I was like, man, Lord, I'm at a really hard place, like at a standstill in my life, and I'm really hitting a wall. What am I supposed to be doing? And the first thing that God told me was that it was time to get out of that relationship. The second thing that God told me was that it was time to be celibate. And the third thing that God told me was that DeVon was my husband. And I was like, okay. And I was like, and I didn't know him that well. And I was like, so what do I do, Lord? And God was just like, nothing, just work on yourself. So I spent the next 9 months healing, working on damage from childhood, growing up in the business, things you just go through in life. And about 5 months in, I started telling friends and family that DeVon was my husband. They were like, oh, really? They're like, does he know that? And I'm like, no. They're like,
So you had not even gone on a date?
No.
Didn't know anything about it.
I didn't talk to him
at
at
This
all.
could have gone real creepy.
Yeah.
She's telling everybody, and somebody says, DeVon, I don't know her.
I don't know what she's talking about. Yeah, no, I was just at the time I was an executive for Sony working on the movie, and she was one of the stars. So I was like, hey, you know what? That's the talent. I'm the executive. Like I would never cross that line. And also, it's Meagan Good. So I'm thinking like, yo, like that's just Meagan Good, the stars, the moon. They're all in another stratosphere.
Let me stop it right here. So I want to make some commentary here. So it seems that that marriage was calling her and not necessarily him. He seemed a little starstruck when he said, "Oh, that's Meagan Good." And the thing that always gets me with dudes, especially those of us who are religious in terms of we practice or follow a particular religion or lifestyle, what have you, and this happens on this side of the street. I'm Muslim, and it happens a lot in where Muslim dudes, where Muslim men will go look for a wife who isn't Muslim, but figure, okay, well, she can do all of the things that a Muslim woman can do, or expect her to do all the things that a Muslim woman would do, as opposed to just finding someone who's already there on their own, right? Meaning she's already Muslim, she's already doing the things that you want her to do. So instead of just finding that woman, they'll see a woman that I guess catches their eye and then want to turn that woman into the Muslim woman that they want. So it seems a bit of what DeVon Franklin did here, in providing that he's the one that filed for the divorce. There's something that he's unhappy with, or he's not pleased with her about. And I have based on some of the research, and these are all alleged in this rumor, so we don't know exactly or what have you. It's that it appears that he wanted to have children, she didn't, and so apparently, based on what they're saying here, he was in the Hollywood. He was in Hollywood in some form or fashion in the entertainment industry, and so because they were working on a same movie together, Jumping the Broom, and it appears that she may been religious to a certain standpoint, but he seems to be more religious. So it seemed to me that he should have gotten a woman that was actually in the church, that was already there. But this woman has spent most of her life in movies and film. She's been in front of the camera for most of her life since she was a child. She was doing commercials, and if anyone remembers, she was in the movie Friday back in 1995. She was one of the little kids getting ice cream from Big Worm's truck. So she has been in the spotlight for a while. So she never seemed comfortable to me playing the background, playing the good DeVon Franklin wife. I'm DeVon Franklin's wife, and I'm the first lady of a church if he does have a church. I know he's a minister or pastor or whatever. So she never seemed to be comfortable playing the background when they are in interviews, and so it seemed to me that he should have just really gravitated to a woman who was already in the church, already doing the things that he wanted to do, who was happy to play the background, and who was happy to have children right away. I mean, the woman is 41. I mean, how much longer can she wait? Because I saw an article that said she wanted to wait to have children, but I mean, you're 41. I mean, how much longer can you wait? And it's fine if that's not something that you want to do, and that should have probably been stated up front if you wanted to be this man's wife. But it's funny to hear her say that she knew she was his wife before he did, and before they ever went out on a date. God told her all these different things. I mean, God didn't tell you about having children. I mean, because you could have had children and start raising the family, and then went back into acting and as an actress or whatever, and just you've been a little bit older, you would no longer play the the hot girl summer roles, but you would start playing the more mature mother roles, because she's in that show on Amazon Prime, Harlem, and she's still playing the kind of the hot girl, still don't know what she's doing, playing a woman in her 30s when she's actually in her 40s. So let's continue with what they have to say here.
And so when it came to reality that, like, wait a minute, at the Jumping the Broom premiere, 9 months after the movie was done, we started talking, and it felt like, wait, I think Meagan is interested in me.
Meanwhile, I had told all my girlfriends, I was like,
Yeah.
"Gonna meet my husband tonight," and everyone's like, "Okay." So we're following him around the party like teenage schoolgirls, like looking at him and stuff. And then we went out 2 weeks later, and then
Yeah.
literally from the time of going out, it was 10 months later we were engaged, and 2 months later we were married.
So
Yeah.
over the span of, 13 months, you
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
celibate in the relationship.
Yes.
You make this pledge to each other, you make it to God, but we're all humans and our bodies react
Sure.
to things.
Absolutely.
So did you avoid kissing? Did you, a massage was out of order? I mean, because these things, I'm
Tamara's
just being
getting all
honest.
of it.
Okay,
Come
we're all
on, you
grown
getting
in here.
all of it. Come on, Tamara.
I mean, you know my husband.
Yes, I do.
Right,
That's
my
brother.
husband massaged my shoulder. I'm like, hey, maybe not as often because we have a baby now, but hey, But it's like, how did you avoid triggers?
You know what? It's one of the things we talk about, in the book. We talk about the power of delayed gratification. We live in a time where everybody wants everything now. But there's a lot of value when we just wait and sit back and say, you know what, I'm going to delay this because if I do, I'll get what I actually want when it's time for it. So for us, we had to know our triggers. Now, that means some nights we could not Netflix and chill, okay? We couldn't do it.
Did you cuddle? You
Some
didn't
days,
stay in the same
but
house.
every day was different. No, we had separate houses. We didn't move in until
And
we
you
got
didn't have
married.
any
Until we got
sleepovers?
No, we had sleepovers.
Yeah.
But again, you got to know your boundaries. You got to know your
So
triggers.
pillow in the middle?
Sometimes not.
Really?
It just depends. It just depends. Depends on how strong you felt on that day. So some days I'd be weak, she'd be strong. Some days she'd be weak, I'd be strong. So it was both of us wanting the same thing, but being okay to let the moment.
He's right there about the delayed gratification. This society does not. There's no delayed gratification. Everything has to happen right now. So I actually agree with him on that. I wanted to stop and say that.
A moment dictate what we did in those moments.
So that's it there. I want to jump over into. The blogs are hot about who Meagan Good is, who she was dating, or who she is dating, or whatever. Actually, she's married to this guy now, or whatever. But this dude should have saw this coming. You can't stress this enough, right? You can't turn her into a housewife, right? You can't turn a 304 into a housewife. Now, these sites have her listed with 15 dudes in the same industry. Now, that's just way too high. That's just way too many in the same industry. And I think I knew about 3, so I was shocked to see some of these dudes on the list, right? And this is all alleged, right? This is all alleged that of who Meagan Good was dealing with, right? It's all alleged. None of this stuff is confirmed.
So
or
you
whatever,
believe
right?
that-
So this is all alleged, all right? So here we go. I think I knew about 50, Tyrese, and DeVon Franklin, obviously, because she's married to him, and the brother Jose Sanchez from what's that show, The Game, or whatever, right? So all of these dudes, in the first 3 dudes in entertainment industry, I think all singers and actors, right? Next to 2 rappers and an actor. That's already 6, if this is true, obviously. There's pictures of them there with her with some of these dudes. I didn't know Alex Thomas. The late Alex Thomas from Friday, but dang, she was a kid on the thing, and that would be weird for me. But anyway, there's pictures of her with all these dudes, except for obviously LeBron. That one shocked me. I was like, okay. Not that it didn't shock me that that LeBron doesn't creep around. He's a dude. He's an NBA player. I would imagine that he's been creeping around with somebody. Those guys get around. Some just do it slicker than the others, right? We'd have never found out about Kobe's cheating, except for his wife actually hired a PI to follow him around or whatever, right? I think I heard about the Nick Cannon one. Jamie Foxx was a shocker. Soulja Boy. She got pictures of Soulja Boy all over the place. So I'm old, so I don't know. Thomas Jones. So there's a few different websites. NFL player Thomas Jones, there's pictures of her and Soldier Boy all over the place. Nick Cannon, th- pictures of her and Jamie Foxx. And I know this is on the movie shoot, but it seemed that she would hook up with dudes that she did movies with. And I mean, and that's not uncommon in Hollywood that co-stars hook up with each other. I mean, look at Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie when he was married to that one chick. Um, yeah, because they were in a movie together. Um, yeah, little. I mean, this is some of this is shocking. Obviously, I mean, honestly, yeah. Her and Soldier. I mean, sheesh. There's just way too many dudes, and yeah, there's her and Alex Thomas. I thought that was weird. There's some dude LeBron up there again. Yeah, I thought this was kind of weird. I thought it was a bit. I thought it was a bit weird that. Oh yeah, here's her and Jamie Foxx. Looks like yeah, kissing and everything, and oh boy, and Alex Thomas again. But anyway, so yeah, I thought some of that was a bit. Some of those things were shockers for me. You know what I mean? That she was with some of those guys or whatever. But you know, the thing of it is that you know you can't turn a 304 into a housewife. I mean, you have to do this whole I'm being celibate thing, and you know, she was asked what was one of the craziest things that she ever did for love, and it was being celibate, and how hard it was. So I mean, for a woman to be celibate, man, you know, that says a lot. I mean, if it's hard for a woman to be celibate, that says a lot about the woman. You know what I mean? Like they seem to be the easier ones to do some of that with, but you know. But anyway, I think the brother's unhappy with. I think she, you know, with just the whole being married thing. I think that wasn't something that he necessarily signed up for. I think that you know he was looking for the traditional wife, and she isn't. I mean, if you look at that show, Harlem, she starts off the very first episode. She's narrating, talking about these women in a remote part of Asia who they just have the standing or the walking marriage or something. They're called the walking wife or the walking marriage, something to where women actually have houses and they choose the men that they want to have sex with or married to or whatever, and the men have to stay with their parents or whatever. It's more of a matriarchal type of society, and you know she. So I mean that seems to be something that she gravitates towards. But you know, brothers, this is my final thoughts. Really, just you know, choose a woman that's already where you want her to be. I mean, don't go into a marriage and you're a Christian and you get a woman who doesn't believe in religion. You know, I mean, she's an atheist, and then you want to try to convert her over to your way of thinking because you're attracted to the way she looks and she has some other qualities. If that's one of the main things that you want, if that's one of the main, if that's one of your, I guess, you know, non-negotiable, uh, non-negotiables in a marriage, then hey, you want to make sure you get that out front. That look, this is what I'm looking for. You know, we're married for 3 to 5 years, and I want to start working on a family. You know what I mean? Like, and to ask an actress that who could still work. I mean, obviously she could still work. She's gonna be in some films coming up and this TV series. You know, it's probably not gonna happen. She's like a career woman. I mean, you know what I mean? So he didn't pick a woman that was on his program. God, quote unquote, told her she was there, but she really wasn't. And I don't think that that's what he was looking for. I would have found a woman that was wanting to be a little bit low key and not wanting to be in the spotlight, who was down for the program that I'm down for, and you know, was going to get on my team. So, you know, just it's unfortunate that another marriage is breaking up, another black marriage is breaking up, but you know, these are the things that you know, relationships are risks, and we have to, you know, if we're going to get into relationships, we're going to take risks. I mean, you you can't get around that aspect. When you're dealing with another person, it's a risk involved. It's all, there's no guarantees. So we just have to, try to be forward thinking and pick a woman that's going to be what we already want her to be, as opposed to trying to turn someone into what we want them to be. I mean, again, and I'm not, calling the woman a 304, but that type of background, and it holds true again that a woman with, a high body count, it makes it hard for them to, to be married or be in a long-term relationship. So, but those are my final thoughts, brothers. Peace, Rebel family.